Episode number 4 of the
We made
WFISD
it.
Athletics podcast. We've been doing this thing for a month.
Yeah, we made it. I don't know.
Hey, look, Ma, I made it.
We made it.
Incredible.
Does Grant know the difference in analytics and impressions?
No,
No
Or
shot.
impressions and
none.
views?
He's got to go back to school and get a degree in that kind of stuff.
I've got plenty of degrees. I don't want another
You
one.
don't want another one?
I don't want another one.
Well, they should have taught you this stuff in one of those degrees.
At the Ivy League on the concho?
Yeah, Harvard
The
on the
Harvard of the concho,
Yes,
sorry.
right. It's Angelo State University. We've got a name for this thing. I'm pumped.
Yeah, aren't you? So this comes from former Wichita Falls High School soccer coach Patrick McCauley.
Okay.
So the Free4All,
Awesome.
and I think it should be free 4 with the number 4 and all on each side of it,
Okay. What's the significance of the number versus the FOR?
because it's easier to write the number than the FOR.
Well, okay. So obviously it's a play on words with your last name,
Yeah,
and I love that.
you.
But I looked up the definition for free for all, and this is perfect.
Oh, this is great.
A disorganized or unrestricted situation or event which everyone may take part.
Patrick knows us.
Awesome.
He knows us.
Disorganized or unrestricted situation.
This is great. So we four episodes in, we have a name.
We have a name.
I'm so excited. The free for
The
all
free for all. With a 4.
with the 4. I want the 4. So a big. I can already see the logo.
Okay.
The big 4, free, and then all on the other side. So
We gotta get a graphic designer in here. You good at
let's
that?
go.
Jim?
I'll be working on that.
Let's go.
Right. Okay. So thank you for
We're a
listening.
very, very low budget operation.
Print the shirts.
Well, it's funny you say low budget because I took a couple of, I guess it's media law classes in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually texted you guys this morning. This is an educational podcast, right? We fall
Yeah.
under the WFISD.
Right. Yeah.
And there's no monetary gain for this podcast.
Correct.
So I believe, I'll have to look this up, but I believe we are able to use popular music in this podcast.
Oh, okay.
And it's under the free use principle.
Yep.
Which I won't bore people on the details because I don't even know them off the top of my head.
Okay.
But I do believe we can use snippets of popular music. So we're working on a theme song. that
Ooh, I
goes
like
with
it.
the Free for all. So if you come back next week, which we hope you do, maybe we'll have some special music for you.
That'd be great.
All right. We talked,
Maybe we'll get to Wednesday next week.
seriously. This is the second Monday in a row
Yeah.
after recording on a Tuesday before that, while promising a Wednesday.
We
podcast.
can't even talk about what's going to be the best NFL game of the week because it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, Monday Night Football hasn't even happened.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Well, last week at the end of the podcast, we learned that Grant Freeman's favorite holiday is Thanksgiving.
That's right.
And it's Thanksgiving week, baby.
This is the big time right here.
You pumped?
I am excited.
Okay. I have a couple of, I don't know if hot topic things is the right idea, but,
Okay.
you know, it comes to Thanksgiving meals, especially down here in Texas compared to where I'm from, there's different things on the table.
Yeah.
So I'm curious from your perspective. I'm going to read off some things.
Okay.
Are these allowed on your Thanksgiving table?
Okay.
Okay.
I like that.
First of all, it's one or the other is likely allowed, but some families do ham, others do turkey. What do the Freemans do?
So we actually do both.
Oh,
wow.
We actually do both.
Okay.
We Cajun fry the turkey. Obviously,
Oh,
I've talked
wow.
to you about kind of some of my roots, but I'm a ham guy, and then I like the leftover turkey sandwiches. I don't do the turkey like in real time.
Okay.
I'm not a real. I don't do it in real time. I do the ham in real time. I do the turkey for the leftover sandwiches.
And you do both?
Fried and smoked turkeys are
Okay.
the best
Yeah,
ways to
I
do
agree.
turkey.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm a turkey and a ham guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My family's always been historically turkey on Thanksgiving, ham on Christmas.
Okay.
So I kind of stick with that, but I will eat whatever. Last year I went to the Cowboys game on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones served me prime rib in
Yes.
the red box.
Yes,
so
he does.
That was enjoyable.
It's
We tend to
great.
go non-traditional sometimes when we get to Christmas. We may do Mexican food. We may
Oh.
do Italian food. Just something to.
We change it up.
Mix
we
it
do.
up a little
Yeah,
bit.
we'll do. We change it up the same at Christmas. So, but Thanksgiving is Thanksgiving.
So let me jump down the list because you brought it up. Sandwiches. The day after, or maybe 2-3
Oh.
days after, you're a big sandwich guy.
Ross from Friends, get the moist maker in there. You know that Thanksgiving sandwich is amazing little stuff. I mean, it's ooh.
What goes on your sandwich?
I'm excited. Everything that I can put on there.
Okay. Yeah, I love the day after and 2 days after and maybe 3 days after
Yeah.
sandwich as well. Okay. We're getting into more of the controversial territory. Cranberry sauce.
Not a cranberry. I'm not like get it off of my table, but I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I'm
Check.
not a cranberry sauce guy.
All right.
But I did grow up thinking that cranberry sauce was made to look like the inside of a can.
That's what I'm saying, and I think that's why I'm against it,
Okay.
because, like, again, it's the famous deal of just, I just hear the suction coming out of the can and the drop on the plate, and I'm just like, I can't do that.
Okay, that's funny though, because I do like cranberry sauce, but only the jellied in a can.
Yeah.
I don't like the, homemade.
When you make it, okay.
Correct, with, chunks in it and
Yeah,
stuff, so.
get out of here with that.
For me, it's, if you're gonna go cranberry, has to be.
Well, does that then go into cranberries and not cranberry sauce?
Fair? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I've gotten cranberry
These are
sauce.
hard-hitting questions that we focus on this show.
Is a jellied substance a sauce? Wow, okay, we're going deep.
just FY, it's not,
Out,
get it out.
O-U-T. Green bean casserole.
I do
A
love
must.
me some green bean casserole.
Okay,
The real question, though, is not green bean casserole, because I do think that's a unanimous. It's shoestring green beans or whole green beans. Because we are shoestring.
okay.
Whatever my wife puts in them.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't know.
like the whole green beans. I don't like the big ones.
Yeah.
I like the shoestring.
Sure.
For my green bean casserole.
It is on my Thanksgiving dinner table at home.
Yep.
I typically
You
pass it on to the
Okay,
kids.
you pass, okay.
Stuffing, what kind of stuffing?
Ooh.
Homemade, out of the box, what do we think?
Homemade for me. My grandmother's recipe. My mom makes it now, since my grandmother has passed, but I will seriously, I'll have a plate and all of the other things that are on the plate, and then I go get my own bowl and fill it with stuffing. And I am very specific. I am a stuffing snob, and
Oh.
so it's got to be that specific one. My wife made one last year, it was really good, but it's got to be cornbread based, and I am a stuffing snob. So
I'm not a big stuffing guy. I eat it, but it's not, I could do without it too.
Sure.
No,
So,
I don't like the giblet gravy. I'm not a giblet gravy
yep,
fan.
put the gravy in for me.
that was the next thing, gravy.
Yep, put it in there for me. Again, there's the plate, and then there's the main course. The main course is the stuffing for me.
I love that. This one, actually, we had this conversation in the KFDX newsroom
Mm-hmm.
the other day. Mac and cheese, does that belong at Thanksgiving?
No, based on the fact that my son eats mac and cheese basically for every meal, and he can make his own, so that does not deserve to be at the Thanksgiving table.
Yeah. Is that the
It
Johnson
will be, but it's not deserved to be on mine.
Either or. I'm a big mac and cheese fan. I love mac and cheese,
Mm-hmm.
so either or.
I say controversy because back home in the Northeast, it's not even talked about on the Thanksgiving table.
I agree. Like if I can remember when we started having kids, it showed up there. But before we had kids, when we were just adults and whatever, that wasn't there. So I think it's more kid based. I think it's
agree.
more for the kids table.
Okay.
My kids aren't much of a traditional
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving meal type kids, so probably ham and macaroni and cheese is what's going to be on their plates.
Yeah.
A roll.
And then this actually was left off the list by accident, but you say, Grant, the main course for you is the stuffing.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's mashed potatoes.
Oh, yes. And mashed potatoes does go on my alternate plate.
Okay.
So it does go on the alternate plate. It does not make it to the stuffing bowl. But I would put mashed potatoes on there way before mac and cheese by any
100%.
measure. Yeah.
Can we just say real mashed potatoes too?
Yes.
Not
But out of a
the,
box?
the grains. That
Oh,
you
no,
put
no,
in
no.
water.
No, you
Yeah.
actually have to make it. You got to whip them up.
Yeah.
There's a specific way to do it.
No doubt, no doubt. And then we're into the dessert side
Mm-hmm.
of the menu. I think classic would be pies on
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. What's the go-to pie?
Mine
We
is-
actually, we
Go
had
ahead.
this conversation in my household this week is all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
All.
I'm a chocolate or a coconut.
I do like chocolate. I've recently become a pecan pie fan. I was not a pecan pie fan early in my life. I'll do some pumpkin. I'll do a buttermilk. Funny enough, apple would be way down the list for me.
Interesting.
I live for my mom's meringues on her pies. So like those coconut and chocolate pies with the meringue that she has.
Okay.
I wouldn't consider myself big into pies, but
Mm-hmm.
I do love on Thanksgiving a slice of apple pie, vanilla ice cream on top.
Yeah.
If you got like a hot fudge, I'll drizzle a little over the ice cream.
I do think it is the pie dessert for Thanksgiving. I don't
Correct.
think you make a cake or anything like
No.
that. I think it's a pie.
Yeah, agreed.
I do think it's a pie.
100%. Is there any Freeman Thanksgiving traditions that we're leaving out that don't include football and food?
No.
Naps.
I mean, I do take a nap.
Tryptophan.
Take a nap. Get ready for the Cowboy game. based on the way the Cowboy game's going, another nap, then head back. Round 2, somewhere in there before used to whatever the third game is that night. So
Grant will nap during I don't even know who the halftime performance is for the kettleballs.
yeah, get out of here.
Cowboys.
The best one was Creed, like back in 2000. Other than that, get out of here
Well,
with
the Rangers
that.
have brought Creed back. Maybe they
Yeah.
can make an appearance.
Isn't it Dolly?
Is it? I think you're right.
What?
I think you're right.
I think it is.
They're hauling
I think it
Dolly
is
out there.
I think so.
And Dolly was at the Tennessee game singing Rocky Top
Oh
on Saturday.
man,
Maybe
where
I'm making that
I
up.
think
Where
you're
are
right.
we going?
I think you're right.
Okay, I'm definitely sleeping through Dolly. I'm definitely sleeping through that.
Wow.
I like it a lot better. It's always interesting. Thanksgivings in my house kind of revolve around football based on how they go. Are we still playing? Are we having the coaches over? Are we doing family? So it is always, again, it makes it one of my favorite holidays, again, for that reason as well. As we moved up here, we've had a couple of Thanksgivings where we're playing, and in different places that we've been, we've played on Thanksgiving a couple of times, and that just makes it so much more fun, getting your coaching staff, getting your kids, sharing some traditions with them that you've learned or you've grown up with, and so I just love Thanksgiving.
The Johnson family, we're actually breaking one of the rules we discussed last week. Our daughter's actually home. She has to be back in Stillwater Friday, so we're actually putting up Christmas decorations on Thursday before we go to family Thanksgiving.
We're still holding off in the Freeman household. There's been multiple weekends when Hillary has tried. I've held it off.
Anti.
Held it off.
I'm telling you, mine will go up the Sunday after.
I've held it off.
It's funny you bring up playing on Thanksgiving because back home, obviously high school football pales in comparison to here in Texas. But we always played, my high school played our big rivalry game, Thanksgiving morning. It was like a 10 a.m. game.
Awesome.
That would be fun.
It might be the only game that most people go to because they don't support high school football up
Yeah.
there like they do down here. But it was a nice little Thanksgiving morning, head out to the field. Kind of probably sucked for the players having to get up and play a 10 a.m.
Yeah.
game, but it was the rivalry game with the high school down the road, so you really bought into it, and it was fun, and usually it's pretty dang cold.
It sucked for the losing team. The winning
Sure.
team, it made a great rest of the day for Thanksgiving.
No doubt.
The best practice of the year is always Thanksgiving morning practice. Everywhere I've been that we've gotten to do that, the best practice of the year is that Thanksgiving morning practice. Normally, what we did up here is we would have a big breakfast. We'd do our special teams walkthrough and all of our walkthrough stuff, and then we'd have a big breakfast all together. We've done that in other places, but that is the best practice of the year. Plus, it means that you're playing in the third round.
Exactly.
It is so much fun. It is so much fun to get to share that with your kids and your coaches, and just a lot of the coaches' families around, the kids' families around. When we've done it the couple of times up here at Wichita Falls High School, we've had all the alumni come back, and they just sat and told stories as we're drinking coffee or eating whatever, and it is a lot of fun.
So there'll be 4 teams that are doing that this year.
Yeah.
Rider Raiders,
Yeah.
Holiday Eagles, Jacksboro Tigers, Benjamin Mustangs. And I say 4 teams, 4 local
Area, yeah.
Texoma
There
teams.
was speaking of Thanksgiving and holiday, there was a 3 or 4 year stretch. I can remember years ago when they played Thanksgiving Day at Memorial Stadium.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I guess
It's a
I
fun
missed out
time.
on that.
They've kind of walked away from that now. Normally you go Friday, Saturday now, because they're trying to line up with the state
Right.
games.
Right,
So,
right. I shouldn't say always, I've been here 4 years now. 3 of the years I've been lucky enough to go home for Thanksgiving, and I
Yeah.
am again this year. But it's always bittersweet because we have football that Friday
Yeah.
night, so I got to get on a plane out of Boston first thing Friday morning, come down here. It's a long day, but it's third round playoff football,
Yeah.
so it's awesome. It's
lots of
exciting.
fun.
Okay, last thing before we jump into some of the sports stuff. The day after Thanksgiving, probably more so for the wives in the family, but Black Friday. My sister loves the Black Friday shop. She gets out there 3, 4 in the morning, lines up, whatever it is.
Really?
What do you guys, is Black Friday a thing down here?
No.
No.
we did it when we first got married, but it was more of the novelty aspect of it. We weren't looking for anything. We just kind of wanted to see the chaos. But that was when it started at like 6 a.m. on Friday, not when it was starting at 3 p.m. on
Right.
Thursday. So
Okay, so you guys know me a little bit now, and one of the things about me is I'm not a mass quantities of people person.
This is true.
my wife calls that too people-y.
Yeah, so just the thought of being in lines or at where mass quantities of people are just makes my hair stand up on my head. So, cue the drum beat there. But yeah, I just never enjoyed that. I think internet shopping was made for me, so that's what I'll be doing.
Weird to hear a football coach say he doesn't like mass quantities of people.
I
Because,
don't mind them if they're behind me in the stands.
Yeah.
If I'm in the middle of them, like Disney World,
Oh.
my nightmare. And my wife makes us go like every 3 years. And I mean, seriously, my nightmare.
you due
So,
for a trip soon? Because maybe you can sneak out.
we,
of
yeah,
that.
we did. So, yeah, we'll be coming up. We'll be coming up soon.
Ouch. All right,
Thank you.
let's jump into some local sports action that's going on here. I talked about the 4 area playoff teams still battling. Just to throw the numbers at you, I thought this was interesting. A little bit of an anomaly. At this point, we only have 4 teams left. My 4 years here, I guess this is my 5th football season actually, we've had more than 4. at
So
this
that's a
point.
low number for us.
Yeah, 4 is low. We started the bi-district round with 22 teams.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them, more than half, wiped out week 1. We went to 9 in the area round, and again, cut in half, down to 4 here in the regional semifinals.
When's the last time Windthorst hasn't been practicing on Thanksgiving? It seems like it's been a while.
I mean, every year I've been here,
Yeah.
so at least 5, including a state championship year. So, yeah. I guess we'll recap last weekend real quick. Starts with Hershey, a heartbreaker, losing on a walk-off field goal to Seminole, 37-36, a game which they led pretty considerably for most of the first half. I wasn't there, but I did see the highlights. Coach, do you have any takeaways from what happened to the Huskies?
Air raid teams are the toughest to put away because they can always throw themselves back in really quickly. You know, the clock doesn't move as much when you're throwing the ball because you got a lot of incomplete passes or you're scoring. So when you were up 30-7, it's not like being ahead of a team that runs or things like that. Seminole's thrown for, I think, over 5,000 yards this year already, which is insane. But that was the only thing that I was worried about is the fact that you can't go run away and hide from a team like that. And you know, they started finding holes in that zone, and they started crawling back. And we were just kind of hoping that Hershey would hang on, and obviously ends their season, ends the Hershey Huskies run on a heartbreaker at the end. But they did a great job all year of playing really hard. They were a fun team to watch. They're explosive. They have really good players, and they have players that are going to be really exciting to watch at Memorial Legacy High School.
No doubt, no doubt. Chad, any thoughts on the Huskies season and what Lawrence Johnson was able to do over there?
You know, like Grant said, I mean, there's some big wins. You know, beating Graham,
Yeah.
I think was huge. Winning district. You know, I mean, you can say you went out the last Hershey team won a district championship.
Amen.
You know, it's a tough way to lose Friday night, but you know, you can sit back a few days later, a few weeks later, and look back on it. I think Coach Johnson and his crew has to be proud with where they ended the year compared to where they started the year.
Yeah, definitely. The third WFISD team, the Rider Raiders, stymieing Lake Dallas last week in the area round, 49-20 winners.
And it really wasn't even that close.
The scoreboard can lie sometimes,
Right.
which is kind of funny to hear. What's your take, Chad?
Man, I tell you what, it was just from the games I've seen top to bottom, I think that was the best game Rider played all year long, offensively, defensively. I mean, they didn't need to throw the ball. I didn't see their exact stats, but I mean, Kenji I think ran for 190 yards. Elijah ran for 130 yards. Kenji had another 70-yard touchdown reception. Even as good as their offense was, though, I think their defense might have been better. I mean, Jalen Gibbs, I mean, he was a man-child on that defensive line. I mean, Lake Dallas was just demoralized, and then turnovers were huge. I think Lake Dallas muffed 2 kicks, just completely. I mean, and Rider capitalized every time every time Lake Dallas made a mistake, Rider was capitalizing. It was. I expected them to win. I don't know that anybody expected them to do what they did Friday night.
Yeah.
We tend to focus on lots of explosive offenses and turnover-based defenses early in the year. The thing that never gets talked about till we get to this point is the 2 things that travel and the 2 things that win when it gets cold: defense and a run game. And they always travel. They always will keep you in the games and allow you to win playoff games. And that's what this team has. They've got a run game, they control the line of scrimmage, and they play solid defense. They're never going to get beat over the top. Somebody's not just going to shred them. They're gonna bow their necks. They're gonna do a good job because they control the line of scrimmage. And that is that game right there is the epitome of run game and defense travel and win you games in November.
And you made the comment about the weather. I mean, it had that little kind of heavy mist, which I think played perfectly into their hands because, you know, with a young quarterback with Joe, but experienced running backs, they just said, you know, the running game's working. We're going to put the ball in the hands of these kids. And you mentioned the defense, and I think the weather was perfect. for that team.
Lake Dallas was 10-1. It's impressive to make a good team look bad.
Well, again, I just go back to, man, if you can play, if you can control the line of scrimmage, it was the same conversation I had as I'm standing in Memorial Stadium watching Lubbock Cooper and Aledo.
Sure.
Aledo, I mean, really, really good football team, all top to bottom. But Lubbock Cooper was the first team that I've seen that could match them up front. The first team I've seen. And they would stretch it out a little bit, and then they'd come back. And, I mean, at one point it was 35-31, and Lubbock Cooper fumbled 2 times inside the 10. I mean, it was 35-31, and it could have easily flipped on its head really quickly. And when you can control the line of scrimmage, man, it makes a big, big difference. It just really does. I know that it doesn't get talked about enough, but from a coaching standpoint, that is huge on these games right here. Anytime you get past round 1, probably into round 2, round 3, defense, run game, line of scrimmage.
Lake Dallas at halftime had 3 yards total offense.
Wow. Wow. The Raiders
I
would
mean, that's almost unheard of in a playoff game, especially.
Especially from a 10-1 team.
They'd love to replicate that performance this week. It's 2 o'clock Friday, so an afternoon game day after Thanksgiving, down in Mineral Wells again. Frisco Emerson.
Who
Good
Lake
team.
Dallas beat in district.
Yeah, good team who, at one point I was told, was number 1 in the state.
Yeah, so Frisco Emerson is incredibly athletic. The Lake Dallas game, again, talk to Coach Bendel a little bit about that game. Throw that game out. Don't get all excited about Lake Dallas beating Frisco Emerson. It was one of those really weird games, very similar to the Abilene Wiley beating Lubbock Cooper this year early. So don't get real excited. Hey, we just beat Lake Dallas by 30.
Yeah.
They beat Frisco Emerson.
And you mentioned
it's all
it last
about
week,
matchups.
matchups, yeah.
It's all about matchups. And here's what Frisco Emerson does that Lake Dallas didn't do. They are very athletic. They will spread you out, and they can match you at the line of scrimmage. So one of the challenges this week for the Rider Raiders is being able to control the line of scrimmage, being able to keep that clock running, because this is not one of those games that you want to be in the 40s or 50s. This is one of those games where you want to keep Emerson from being explosive. You want to control the game with your run game. You want this game in the 20s. You want, if this game's in the 20s going in the fourth quarter, advantage Rider. Because if this is not one of those that you want to be 40, 50, 60 points scored on either side of it, because a shootout is not what we need. We need to be a defensive grind out, move on, a survive and advance type of game.
Emerson, I believe, I was told, has a Oklahoma commit
Mm-hmm.
at quarterback. So let's see if the Raider defense can contain an
And
explosive
didn't he
player.
transfer from Allen? Did I hear that right? Yeah.
Okay, so learn new things every day. So definitely a focal point for them. I also talked to Coach Bendel this morning over at the Rider practice. He expects Emerson to try to make them air it out,
Yeah.
maybe try to take away that running game. So you got a sophomore quarterback, Joe Castles, and let's see if he can find those receivers and will Rider to another victory.
Which in early in the year, that's what worked against, Rider's 2 losses to Lubbock Cooper and to Stephenville. That's, especially Lubbock Cooper, that's kind of what Lubbock Cooper did. They said, which Lubbock Cooper had some big linemen offensively and defensively, but kind of stacked the box and said, we're gonna make this young quarterback beat us. And
Well, and it's like Mark and I talked about, they're going to play, Emerson's going to play with 7 in the box. So you're either going to have to find ways to run against 7, or you're going to have to be able to throw the ball. And fact, that's what it comes down to. If they're going to keep 7 in the box and not move them, you're going to either have to formation it, or you're going to have to be able to throw the ball and get some motion or something going, or find a way to run against 7. Mark is an outstanding offensive coordinator.
Right.
He's got a mind to be able to do things in a different way. He's going to have something for him. He'll do a great job.
Love it. All right, you brought up the Aledo Cooper game. Can we talk about the other game that was at the Memorial Stadium this
Yeah.
week, the Saturday afternoon game? I know I was there getting some highlights for our Amarillo station. Amarillo High taking on Red Oak. Your takeaways from that game?
Such a crazy game. Amarillo High came up 14-0 just right out of the box,
Bang.
and then Red Oak just comes right back, scores 28 unanswered. They're up 28-14. Then here comes Amarillo High in the second half. They get it all the way to 28-28. This is what was crazy about the end of this game. They tie it at 28-28, a minute 10 left. Kick the ball off, and they squib kick it, so the ball ends up, which I hate. I cannot stand that. But they squib kick it, so the field position's like at the minus 45. I mean, because it only gets to that second level. So it looks like Red Oak is just going to run the game out. They run their quarterback on the first play. They run their quarterback on the second play, no timeouts left. It looks like we're going to overtime. So they run their quarterback on the third play, and he pops one for 60 and scores a touchdown.
Oh, wow.
And, I mean, what was crazy about that, and I have some ties, some guys that used to work and play for me at Brownwood is the offensive coordinator and the offensive staff for Red Oak. So I was talking to them after the game, and one of the things they said was Red Oak is 12-0 now. They lost their quarterback 2 weeks ago in the last game of the regular season.
Oh.
Went out with a broken leg. The actual kid that was playing quarterback was their 2,000-yard running back, 2,000-yard rusher running back. And so it wasn't like they were running typical quarterback sweeps just to get out of there.
Yes.
That was their 2,000-yard running back who ran that thing for 60 yards and the score. Red Oak looked very impressive. What I was most impressed with was they have a kid going, I believe, to one of their best receivers is going to TCU or Texas, I believe, number one. Then they had another one in the slot who is a high 3 or 4 star recruit. They had some speed on the outside, just absolute blazing speed on the outside.
Is that this Taz Williams Jr.?
Yes, Taz Williams was there, and then it's the head coach's son. His last name is Robinson. Was the other little slot? He was almost more impressive, just smaller.
Okay.
He was outstanding watching those two guys, and they'd line them up beside each other. And Amarillo High couldn't get enough people out there to cover them.
Yeah, I was shooting the highlights, and this Taz Williams kid was all over him. I called him the Tasmanian Devil on air.
He was outstanding.
I tell you what, Red Oak, I think it was 2 years ago. They've played some fun playoff games at Memorial Stadium. I think it was 2 years ago
Yes.
when they beat Lubbock Coronado in overtime.
I was there.
That was when Sawyer Robertson, who's playing quarterback at Baylor now, was Lubbock Coronado's quarterback, which Amarillo's played some good games at Memorial Stadium too. We bring some fun games into Memorial Stadium, it seems like, in the second and third round.
While we're on the topic, let's talk about the one that's out at the stadium this week at Joe Golding Field. What is it? Abilene High taking on
Justin Northwest.
That's right, Northwest. Coach Gar, I guess, from Abilene, coming back out to Wichita Falls to say hello.
Yeah, Gar called me. Obviously, he has ties to this area. Athletic directors don't get to do a lot other than talk shop about stuff like that. So not as exciting as getting to come and coach here in Memorial Stadium. But, yeah, we're excited to have that game. It looked like, I think Justin Northwest was a 4 seed coming in out of that. They upset the big upset was they upset Midlothian in the first round, then turned around and put a whooping on, I believe, Tascosa it was. And so they're hot right now. They sling it around a lot. Abilene High looks like Abilene High did in the early to mid 2000s. They are playing.
Wow.
They are playing great football, and they are stacked and loaded. I know Coach Fullen and his team are going to come in here, be ready to rock and roll, and they're going to be fun to watch.
The Eagles, the Bird's Nest.
The Warbirds.
Is that what they are?
I think they wear shirts sometimes. I think that comes back from like their state championship in the 50s. They call them the Warbirds.
Nice.
And but yeah, Abilene High Eagles, big tradition.
I'll tell you one other note, speaking of state teams that I happened to catch on Twitter the other day. So Katy, everybody knows Katy,
Yep.
state powerhouse. This is the first year that they have not been been playing Thanksgiving weekend since 2001.
Wow.
2001. They lost to Houston Madison. Who was playing quarterback for Houston Madison in 2001?
Vince Young.
Vince Young.
Hey.
That's how long Katy, that's pretty impressive. I mean, you think about that. That means you've won 2 playoff games every year
For
for more than
22
20
years.
years.
Well, I mean, Gary Joseph, one of the best coaches of all time in the state of Texas. He's done a great job. However, the biggest problem for Katy is I think they're on school 5 now. I mean, they were
No longer a
Katy
one-horse
High.
town,
Yeah,
yeah.
Katy High was the only school there for a long time, and that makes a big difference when you start spreading that talent out.
Who's Katie?
Katy
Down by
is,
Houston.
is right by Houston.
Who is Katie? Who's it named after?
I don't. We'll have to. The research department for the Free4All will have to get on that. We will make sure that we get back and follow up on that next week.
Don't care. All right, next.
Congrats.
game. Congrats for the t-shirt.
Print the shirt.
2 local teams in Class 3A. Jacksboro meeting up with Holiday. The Tigers just beat Bells 45-6, and the Eagles just beat Leonard 42-6, setting up that clash of local teams. 7 o'clock Friday, Newton Field in Graham. I will be at this game, pumped to get to see 2 local teams go at it in the regional semifinals.
Have they
You've
played
seen a
be-
lot of these
Yeah.
two teams this year.
Yeah.
Have they played before this year? Is this a rematch?
They did not play last year because Jacksboro lost to.
But they haven't played this year in the year.
I do not believe so.
They don't believe so.
don't think so.
So this will be good. This will be good. I thought they've already played this year. Maybe I was mistaken on that.
Let's find out. I'm Googling it. Because I don't know. I should
Google.
probably know that.
I know
Siri.
Holiday's got one loss to Jim Ned.
Correct.
Right? Has Jacksboro, what is Jacksboro? Jacksboro's
Oh, they haven't lost. They're undefeated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
you're right.
Okay.
So, no, they haven't.
So they haven't played?
That
Okay.
answers that question.
Let's go.
Way to workshop that, Chad. That was good.
We tried to get them at Memorial Stadium and didn't win. Flipping didn't win. What a game that would be for Memorial Stadium.
And I tell you what, Holiday, man, changing coach, changing offensive philosophy, you could probably talk a little bit on that, but
Yeah.
really haven't changed the fact that they're still winning playoff games deep.
Jimmy's and Joe's makes a big difference, especially at that level. I mean, no matter what kind of offense or defensive philosophy you have. Kyle Atwood's done a good job. That's a tough job to step into. I mean, you take over for somebody in Frank Johnson, who's
Right.
one, a big personality, but two, done it really well there for a long time. And then you come in, you change a lot of things around that can't be, popular with some of the people. And he's done a good job. Him and his staff have done a good job. They've got him back to the third round of the playoffs, and a great game that is a winnable game for him as well. It's going to be a great matchup.
Last time the two teams played, 2021 by district round, Holiday winners 63.
You go back not too far back and they were district opponents.
That's what
there
that's
you
what
go.
I thought. I didn't know if they were district opponents or not.
Okay.
I'd say it's been probably 2 or 3 realignments ago, but they were district opponents for a long time.
Nice,
So.
very good. And then the last local team comes from Class 1A, the Benjamin Mustangs. They beat Newcastle in the area round. Get this final score, guys: 112-84.
Man, that was awesome.
That's
So,
six-man
somebody was
football.
talking about that at the stadium the other day. They were like, "Man, they played them really good." I said, "What was the score?" It said it was like 112-80 something. I said, "Man, that sounds like they didn't play them really good."
Didn't you say in our text group the other day that this is the first game Benjamin's had to play 4 quarters?
Yes,
Wow.
100%. I think their first game of the year, they had to score 80 to beat, I believe it was Follett, but I had been told that Benjamin just, wasn't ready, wasn't necessarily
Yeah.
in the best shape for week 1. But yeah, I was really impressed with Newcastle, honestly. I mean, to give Benjamin a good fight like that was tough. Newcastle's, they've got some dogs.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Benjamin's the number 1 team in the state with the best 6-man player in the state. But the fight they put up was impressive.
We talked about that last week in 1A or 6-man, however you want to call it. Like, I mean, you have big matchups really early,
Right.
and you could be out, and the difference between the 1 seed and like the 3 seed is still a 45-point game. That's
Yeah.
what's insane to me.
I was at this game in where was it? Just outside of Abilene there. Pied Pipers, Hamlin. I was at this game in Hamlin, and we were kind of anticipating a 45, maybe at halftime, and I would drive back to Wichita Falls and be on the air at 11:30. Well, we're into the third quarter, and they're like going back and forth on touchdowns. I believe I couldn't stay till the end if I
Wow.
wanted to get back to Wichita Falls. It was like 80-60 when I left, and like I said, it finished 112-84. So Benjamin moves on. They face Jayton this Friday, 6 o'clock in Hermon.
Let's backtrack just a little bit. One of the games we talked a little bit about last week, backtracking even with Jacksboro and Holiday.
Yeah.
At some point in time, one of the teams are going to have to meet Gunner.
Yep, the winner of this team gets Gunner.
And Gunner
Pretty good.
kind of put it on City View a little bit
Kind
last
of?
week. Yeah.
Kind of. 65
83-6.
83-6.
And then let's say by the stroke of good luck you get past Gunner, you got Canadian sitting there.
I do believe, though, City View the first team to score on Gunter in like 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So that was impressive.
Print the shirts.
In what quarter?
I don't know. It may have been the 4th string guys. But hey, they still scored 6 points.
Print the shirts.
Congratulations, print the T-shirts. I think that's all for local high school football, unless you guys have any other area games you wanted to touch on.
No.
State games around the state? No. Okay. Quick question, Grant, is this Friday the last game at Memorial Stadium for the year, or not necessarily?
No, in fact, that's what I was working my phone just now. We've got a potential Brock Bushland
Okay.
matchup next Thursday, so the week that we come back next Thursday, and then I just had, in fact, let's check the AD meter here.
Look at this. Adam Schefter live
Yeah,
at the phone
that's right.
on the podcast.
Grant hasn't moved to
like,
more than one phone yet. He's still only on one phone.
Yeah, it looks like potential Collinsville Albany
Okay.
Oh, wow.
state quarterfinal December 1st, so that would be the Friday night. So
Love it.
again, still some potential matchups, man, and I'm really shooting. I want. Listen, I want the Gunner Canadian game at Memorial Stadium. I want it. So you guys in Canadian and Gunner, listen to me. I want that final if you have it.
I mean, they're on track to have it.
I know
played here
we
before.
had it. They've played here before, and then they've been in Abilene the last few years. I want it back in Wichita. I want to see that game. I want to host that game. Come back.
Doesn't Abilene have a really nice new press box?
Listen,
But do they have Texas Roadhouse in the
listen to
box?
me. looking right in the camera. You will come here. You will
Speaking
come
into
to me.
existing, Grant Freeman, I love it. All right. Outside of football, just a couple quick things to touch on for the week. Impressive stuff. Midwestern State men's soccer advancing in the NCAA tournament after a 2-1 win over Fort Lewis this weekend. It marks Midwestern State's first Sweet 16 appearance since 2017. Also the first time they've advanced past the opening weekend under head coach Michael Meacham. 20 wins for the year. That ties their program best as an NCAA program. Back when they were NAIA, they had a 23-win season. But right now, 20-0-1, Midwestern State men's soccer hosting the third and fourth rounds, not this weekend because it's the holiday week, but the following week, that first weekend in December.
Let's
December
go.
1st. Midwestern State men's soccer.
Get out there and watch them. Get out there and support
Heck yeah.
them.
Seriously. I
that's-
mean, we're talking about a legit national championship contender.
Let's go.
you don't see a lot of, 0 losses. 0 losses. You
Correct.
play that many games, you think you're going to slip up somewhere, especially in soccer where,
Things can happen.
yeah, things
You
happen.
can dominate
You
the
know,
game and still lose
Make
one
a
there.
bad mistake in the.
So say that again. We're hosting the next round, and that's the round before we go to the national championship?
Correct. It's
Let's
the-
go, Wichita. Get your butts out there.
Yes.
Yes.
Sweet 16 is, I believe, Friday, December 1st.
Okay.
Elite 8 would be Sunday, December 3rd.
Yes.
And then if you move on from the Elite 8, you're in the Final Four, and that is in North Carolina this
That's
year.
what I'm talking about.
Wow.
Get your butts out there, Wichita. Support the Mustangs.
Love it. Congratulations to Coach Meacham and the Mustang. Sticking with Midwestern State men's basketball, Pierre Sanders with a triple-double this week. 14 points, 10 rebounds, 13 assists in the Mustangs win. The first triple-double by an MSU men's basketball player since 2001.
But they did not score Benjamin.
That's what I was going to say. Since 2001, Sam Doug. So I just make sure that wasn't against Angelo State that year. I hope.
I don't know. I don't know. I do
Was
know
Grant
that
I don't
Freeman on the
remember. Yeah, I
basketball
don't
team
remember.
that-
I don't remember a triple double, and I don't remember that. But
Sam Douglas played professional basketball overseas, I believe, for the country of Jordan.
yeah, no, he. I remember him. I don't remember him having a triple double. So I don't think it was against Angelo State that year.
That's good, for your sake.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to some regional stuff. Let's talk college football because, Grant, you're Washington Huskies, man.
Hey, they're
You've been
still
high
rolling.
on
I'm telling you. Here's the thing. When did the Pac-12 get good? What's going on there?
Great question.
Oregon State. Did you watch this game?
I did not.
Okay, so I didn't either. But apparently Oregon State is a defensive playing juggernaut and held them to 22, which is wild because they've been getting around on everybody. But again, they're still undefeated. Everybody keeps talking about how good Oregon is, but
Yeah.
they've got a head-to-head. I mean, Washington, don't sleep on them, man. They can score with anybody, and it shows that they can win a tough game. I think they're going to be in.
Well, and here's the thing: I still question about Oregon when you talk about playing Washington. Oregon hasn't beaten a ranked team all year.
I didn't know that. That's looking
Yeah.
at you, stat boy.
I just saw it on Twitter the other day.
That's a great place to see it.
I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
But I've seen a lot of people, seeing an Oregon's
Everybody,
prejudice.
everybody in the Pac-12 is undefeated. I mean, or is ranked. So they hadn't played any
Well,
of
what
them
did I
while they
read?
were ranked. I'm
That
seriously
can't be
like,
right.
like
that can't
seven.
be right.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
like
now that you said
seven
that,
people.
That can't be right.
7 people in the
Yeah,
Pac-12
you're right.
are
That
ranked.
can't be right.
See, that's why you can't believe
Fake
what you see on
news,
Twitter.
Chad.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Don't
Hey,
trust Twitter, folks.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's actually X.
I think that I really think I think Washington has a chance to be like the Oklahomas, Lincoln Riley's Oklahomas that jump into the playoff,
Okay.
give an SEC team a really good game, but
I think it'd be fun.
can't play any defense, so
Sure.
they're going to have to outscore them. But
Yeah,
they,
that's
they,
good.
that's who they remind me of, is like one of those, you know how Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley kept jumping in there and giving like Georgia or whoever a good game. That's what they remind me of.
That's definitely wrong because Washington has beaten Oregon already this year, have they not?
Well, we're talking about Oregon State here. For a
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm going back to my
Oh,
my mistake.
Sure.
of
Yes. because
My
Washington's
bad
undefeated.
news information here.
It's okay.
Hey, someone might have put out a bad tweet and you fell victim. It happens.
did.
We'll send the research department an email here.
We'll get to the Big 12 here in a second, but let's go Big 10. Michigan flirting with some trouble against Maryland. They did win 31-24. That sets up the Michigan-Ohio State, a battle of number 3 versus number 2. Game day at the Big House in Ann Arbor. Rivalry game this week in the final week of the regular season. Should be good stuff.
I just think all the things that they've gone through, off the field stuff, the chaos of on the field stuff, they really haven't played a tough schedule. That's where you see them trip up kind of against Maryland a little bit, but they found a way to win, and that's the other thing that you have to go to is, man, if you play your worst game, you find a way to win. And I believe that the Ohio State game is in the Big House. Is that correct? They're at home.
That is correct.
So, again, I think they're really good. I think they have, their depth and their defense is really good. Man, it's going to just be interesting to see if they can survive this one.
Do you think they miss Harbaugh in a game like this?
Here's the thing, that it's not Harbaugh that they miss. Well, I wouldn't say it's not Harbaugh, but they miss a game manager because you're asking the offensive coordinator, who's not used to game managing, only used to calling the plays, to then manage a game. And there's just something to that. Having a guy tell you, hey, you got 2 downs here. Hey, I'm going to call timeout here. Hey, we need to look at this. Take a look at these things. That's not directly involved in the play calling. That's a big, big deal.
Talk about that a little bit. I mean, you mentioned that. Is there any thought as a head coach that, hey, I want to give maybe that interim head coach position to somebody who's not a coordinator?
Generally, they do it to like the special teams coordinator or somebody like that, because again, most of your people, especially at this level, most of your people have specific jobs, specific things that they're doing, or either in the box or on the field watching for, or something like that. A special teams coordinator would probably be the best, just because they actually look at some game management aspects of, hey, we need to punt it here. Hey, this is what we need to do. But like your receivers coach or your offensive line coach, they've really got a job that they have to do during that time or during the game. They can't just think. It's so hard to think big picture all the time.
Chad, I'd like to turn it over to you here just to kind of delve into this Big 12 stuff, because you provided us with a handy-dandy handout this week.
What a mess.
What is going on in the Big 12?
Well, let's put it this way. It's not a mess if Texas wins.
Okay.
I was going to say, I stopped reading after the first.
If Texas wins,
scenario.
It's pretty clean. Texas wins, they're in.
Okay.
Oklahoma State wins, they're in. Oklahoma State loses, then you go into, I think Oklahoma's next because they beat Kansas State. So if Oklahoma State loses and Oklahoma wins, Oklahoma's in.
Okay.
If Oklahoma State and Oklahoma both lose, who I think are both 15-point favorites this week, then I guess K-State's in. K-State has a tough one against Iowa State.
Sure.
So if Texas loses, then I think it's just conspiracy theorists still start aligning. And
I'm for chaos. I love chaos. I don't think anybody, and this is whatever. I just don't think. I think Texas is your highest ranked team out of the Big 12 right now. I don't think they're a playoff team either way. Even if they win the Big 12, I just don't see that. I think there are a lot of other teams that are right above them playing a lot better.
There's a lot of good but not great teams
Correct.
in the Big 12.
And so when it comes to that, I want chaos. I want to see the craziest scenario. What's the craziest scenario that could put people still in
I read
deal?
the other day that Tech still has a chance. If Tech beats Texas and they get all this chaos.
That's
you've
what
got
I'm
a
trying
bunch
to.
of
I'm
teams
trying to
sitting there
read
at
what
3
the.
losses,
I'm trying to read what the craziest matchup we could have, like Tech and
Well, here's the last
Tech
one.
and Kansas State.
Here's the last one that has the conspiracy theorists going.
Okay, let's hear it.
The people that think Texas and that think the Big 12 are trying to pull one on Texas and Oklahoma. Multiple scenarios exist in the circumstance contingent on which teams remain in the tiebreaker pool.
The pool.
That's if Texas Tech beats Texas.
What does that even mean?
So that means that's the conspiracy theorists then coming out saying, oh, they're just trying to keep Oklahoma and Texas out.
I disagree with that. Like, conspiracy poo-poo on that.
Right.
What is the most lucrative
Yep.
matchup that they can have? Texas versus Oklahoma, or one of the two in the game.
Absolutely.
That makes them the most money. You think those tickets are going to sell out if it's Texas Tech, BYU?
No.
Sorry. I mean, I love the Raiders. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same. I get it that they're mad that they're leaving.
Follow the money, baby.
As somebody who wants to go to the Big 12 championship game, I hope for no chaos. I hope Texas wins, Oklahoma State wins. We can go. It may be the first time. It will be the first time that I will actively be cheering against Texas. Grew up a Texas fan, but that's not
Okay.
where my money's going anymore. So.
Wow.
Speaking of Oklahoma State, I think you texted us in the first quarter down in Houston. What was happening?
Man, it's just, I don't know. I don't pretend to be a coach. I'm full-on fan, but I'm also the guy sitting up there. And once again, maybe Coach Freeman can answer this question for me. You've got the best
Well, we don't want to
running
call
back-
Coach Freeman. He's my dad. He'd be grumpy.
Coach Free, sorry. We've got the best, or Oklahoma State has the best running back in the country, and they're not handing him the ball in the first half. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason. I don't know what that reason is, but then the second half, I think he runs for 140 yards.
This is the thing that I always tell people whenever they start getting mad at coaches about play calls and stuff like that. Okay, this is my one quote for them. You can make a graphic for this one too. I can promise you that we are not trying to lose the game.
Right.
I can promise you we didn't go into the game and plan and spend 100 hours a week practicing, watching film, putting together a play, whatever, and say, you know what? Let's just go try to lose this game. Let's do the dumbest things humanly possible that we can do to lose this game. And I promise you that's not
Which I
happening.
will say Houston had a lot of momentum. I say
Yep.
momentum. It's senior day. It's their last home game. The stadium was almost half full, which sarcasm there. But,
Yeah, maybe half full.
but like I say, it's.
Wait a minute. Half full. Didn't you pay a premium for those tickets?
I paid $4 for those tickets.
$4.
$4.
$8 in fees for a $4
$8
ticket.
in fees, yeah. $48 for 4 tickets to go to Houston to watch.
I hope you enjoyed it.
We did. Any chance we get to see our kid.
Absolutely.
You know, and you know, I'm such a football nut, college football nut, and I love the Big 12. So I'm kind of living vicariously through her these days because I get to go watch all these Big 12 games. So.
Yeah.
Going back to that Big 12 championship, if they get there, guarantee you're not paying $4.
That's,
No.
I actually looked on SeatGeek this morning just out of curiosity. The cheapest ticket right now is $119.
There you go.
So the Johnson family will not be there if the tickets stay.
I was going to say,
$119.
you might want to book that right now because if Texas or Oklahoma is in that game,
Right.
that's going to go up by about $100.
Right.
Not a bad idea. You could then sell it if Oklahoma
Again.
doesn't
Exactly.
make it.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. That's it for college football.
One more note, real quick,
Sorry.
on college football and even Big 12. I don't know how many of you guys watched Tech play West Virginia this
I did
week.
not.
I did not watch it, but I was getting a lot of texts. Not the greatest game, it doesn't sound like, but leading tackler for Texas Tech,
J-Rod?
Jacob Rodriguez.
Nice.
I believe Duda Banks had a couple of big plays, had a big
Blocked,
game. Was
blocked the
involved.
field goal, or
Yeah,
blocked the
so-
extra point or field goal, whatever it was, to win the game.
Right.
Speaking of-
And then another local note, which
Yeah.
isn't Wichita Falls, but Iowa Park, Kirby Cohealy with a pick six against Texas A&M.
For TCU.
Yeah.
For ACU.
For
I'm
ACU.
sorry, ACU, yes.
We're all full of wrong facts today.
Yeah, it's the same colors, you know.
I would like to make note that I have not stated an incorrect fact yet.
Yet.
But a big day for some local kids that, you know, and I'll be
great.
interested to see what Tech does with J-Rod next week. 'Cause-
They've already said they're gonna sit
sitting.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna,
which is smart.
which is incredibly smart,
We had,
for both sides.
we had National Signing Day this past Wednesday, and it wasn't the football players,
Mm-hmm.
but the basketball players. But going back to what Chet said, we love to see the Texoma talent compete on Saturdays, and
Heck yeah.
and you know, it's fun for us because we can say we knew him when.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's
It is
pretty
great.
You draw a connection to them. I know
Yes.
Grant does as a coach, but he gets to know these kids on a lot more personal
Yes.
level. We get to know them from a distance a little bit, but
Right.
it's still fun to watch these kids
Watch 'em
become adults and perform at the highest level.
Last week, Coach Free told us, get back to me when the Cowboys beat a good team, so we should just gloss over this.
Just move right on along.
Cowboys beating Carolina this week, no problem, 33-10.
But your
Deron
big
Bland.
Cowboy news,
Which one?
Jimmy going into the Ring of Honor.
Curse is broken.
About time.
Curse is broken.
I guess Mike McCarthy in his post-game press conference, he was asked about it. No one told him. Jerry
Was
showed
that
up
not
Oh,
the
really?
most awkward? Was that not the most awkward pregame, whatever you want to call that, between Jerry and Jimmy? It was uncomfortable. I don't
Well,
know.
you know this from being in media. Jerry needs a host.
Yes.
You can't let him be the host of something because what people don't realize how hard it is. Like I've done play-by-play and I've done color. I've done stuff like that. Like it is incredibly hard to sit in this seat over here
Yes.
than it is to sit in this seat. And I couldn't do the production side of it either. I've done that before. It is a totally different job than sitting over here just providing the analyst or whatever. Jerry needs a host.
He does.
You can't let him just run with something because he can't. It's too hard to follow. Your brain doesn't work like that. You got producers screaming in your ear. It just doesn't work really well.
But once again, I think that lends itself even more to the people who say Jerry is more interested on the business side
Definitely.
than the game side. The fact that he's making that announcement, 5 minutes before the game's
That's
kicking
what I'm
off?
saying.
At Carolina,
Right.
So,
And
which,
my-
I mean, he's a great businessman. He's getting his name on the front page of the paper again. I mean,
well, he made a game that wasn't relevant by
Right.
doing that.
right.
I guess. From the head coach's perspective, it's like, dude, we're about to go play. But that's Jerry.
But
right?
again,
That's
what
Jerry.
does the head coach matter in the Jimmy Johnson announcement? That doesn't matter.
I think it's just a distraction.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. In the big picture, I don't think it matters.
Cowboys won 33-10. So
What are they going to do? Oh my gosh, Jimmy Johnson's going in the Ring of Honor. We can't run this play right now. I can't call play. I don't think it matters.
Hey, and
You know,
another big matchup next week, the Commanders.
Hey,
maybe that's what distracted him through the freaking red challenge flag for no reason.
you want to jump right to that segment?
Segue.
Let's do it. Cue the music.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
So, look, I'm not a football coach, and never have I had the ability to challenge a play. But, that being said, 2 weeks in a row now, NFL coaches, who are supposed to be game managers, as we've talked about, did some kind of dumb things. Brian Daboll did it last week, actually against the Cowboys, threw a challenge flag in like the first quarter on a play which Brandon Cooks very clearly caught the ball. He threw the flag, and then he's like, actually, you know what, no, I don't want to throw that flag, but once you throw it, you lose the timeout, even if they don't review it, which they didn't.
Correct.
Mike McCarthy comes out and does the same thing this week.
So here's my take on that. What are we doing? It's if you this is the worst part, and I'm gonna tell on myself here.
Okay.
If you are giving the head coaches full autonomy to do this, this is idiotic. I challenge every play. This is based on a person who's sitting up in the box watching a TV on a headset telling Mike to challenge this play without seeing it. And what makes it even worse is if it's a questionable play, the other team hurries up.
Yes.
So those people giving him that advice are working off of, very little time or a gut response. But if they aren't doing that, and Big Mike just pulled that thing out and threw it, that's why Belichick keeps it in his sock.
Right.
Because there's actually a process to get it out.
Correct.
And so, Daboll is the same way as, again, don't give head coaches full autonomy to just throw the flag whenever they think that something has happened. They, one, are emotional about the decision. Two, they're looking up maybe at a board or maybe not, because every kid's going to come running over, or every player's going to come running over, tell you they caught the ball,
Yep.
tell you the other one didn't catch it, or A, B, and C, and they're all lying.
Yes.
Every one of them's lying.
They don't know.
They don't even if they did know, they're lying.
Yeah, sure.
They're going to lie to you.
Can I just say, that's one of my pet peeves with sports, is the player who starts, you see it in football, baseball now, all these sports, these guys get up, they think they're safe, they think they've made the catch, whatever, they're doing this.
Yeah.
And it's like, stop.
Well, then they get mad at you because they're like, well, you don't got my back. You're not challenging that. Because you didn't. Again, it's a 50-50 deal. Like, if it's in the first quarter, like, this is what was weird about both of these. It was in the first quarter. Like, get out of here with that. I'm not messing with a play in the first quarter. That wasn't a touchdown play.
Right.
Neither one of them were.
I'm actually now forgetting.
I know the Dayball one was in the first quarter. I
Cowboys
think
might
the
have been
Cowboys.
third. But the game was out of hand. It was like
Again,
30-10.
it's not unless it has the difference in scoring. If it is a scoring play, which is reviewed anyways,
Correct.
if it is the difference in a scoring play, then I'm for sure I'm not letting them get another play off. I'm throwing the flag just to stop and make them look at it, because if it results in points, that's a big deal. If it's not a result in points, it's not that big a deal early in a game.
Here's what I think is funny. You throw it, and like you said, this is what was happening. Carolina was hurrying up. And, the refs, blew it dead. The announcers were lost. And then they go and talk to McCarthy.
Yeah, he's
And
laughing.
You're reading lips.
Yeah.
He's, laughing. He's basically he's admitting, yeah, I shouldn't have thrown that. Cost me the timeout, and let's move on with this thing.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah. What do we do? Come on, Big Mike.
Anyway. Okay. So, let's see where we're at here in our little rundown. Oh, it's free tuition time, baby.
All right.
We're going to learn from the head coach. The athletic director
Okay.
of the WFISD, former head football coach of the Coyotes.
Yeah.
I think back to my Madden days, right?
Yeah.
Bring out the
Tampa
video
2.
games, and you get to choose different plays, and usually, I'm just spamming A or X or whatever, because I don't really, play the position
No,
you're
you're
supposed to play. But one of the plays that always came up on the screen, Tampa 2 defense.
Yeah.
What is it?
So the Tampa 2 was named after Tampa Bay for Coach Tony Dungy. They popularized this back in the Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp days. It should be called the Tampa 3, but it is a cover 2 shell. So your safeties are over the top. They have half of the field. So one safety has one half, the other safety has the other half. The corners in this situation have the flats, so they are the low players. The outside backers, or Will and Sam, are hook to curl, so they're your middle. Traditionally, when you have that as a cover 2 shell, your Mike linebacker fits into the box. So he is part of the box. So either a 4-man front, 3-man front, whatever you have, he fits in part of the box. The difference in the Tampa 2 is he is now the deep middle player, so it becomes a 3-person shell. So
Okay.
he drops in a full drop all the way back into between the hashes of the middle of the field. So you gain an extra safety, or you gain an extra zone, however you'd like to call it, in the Tampa 2. And so what ended up happening a lot is traditionally against a cover 2 defense, you would get a lot of people that would run post routes or double posts into that middle hash area where if you put 2 routes on one of those safeties that has a half of a field, they've got to decide. They've got either got to play between one or they've got to pick a route. And so now it was a way to get another defender back up into that area for the cover 2 beaters, as we would call them. And there's a third person back there that will rob the underneath part of those routes.
So with that middle linebacker kind of dropping, is it a deception tactic more than anything?
Correct. A lot of times you would see them take their read steps forward like they're coming into the box and then turn and bail. That was the traditional, what you would see, Derek Brooks do or whoever was playing that position for him do. Now what you get in Texas high school football and in college a lot is you will get a 3 safety alignment like what we run. You'll take a defensive lineman off the field. You'll get a 3-3 stack and with an already placed safety right there, so you can play Tampa 2 without actually dropping them out. You've got the third safety that's already in the middle of the field. We personnel that, so it's not a Mike linebacker turning around and running all the way back there. We go ahead and place a Tampa 2 person there. We're playing 2 everywhere else, and then we just have that middle safety that's sitting there. That's how it's evolved now.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of stack in the NFL, but you see it a lot. Became popular with, there's lots of different people who have run it, but it came real popular last year with TCU and Joseph Gillespie running it. We ran it for the last couple of years, and with the main popular point of it is the 3-3 stack in the box and then the 3 safeties high, which has been unique over the last couple of years, and that's what we ran over the last few years, and so that's really Tampa 2. It should be called Tampa 3 to me.
Okay, well, if you're playing Madden video games and the 3 play calls come up and you get to pick one, you see Tampa 2, now you know. All right, kind of random thought for the week, but more of a personal experience. You guys wear contacts?
No, 20/20 vision.
I tried and they didn't work.
Okay, so I wear contacts for probably, I guess, going on like 10 years now.
Really?
Since like freshman year of high school, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe sophomore year.
I'd say it's sad that was 10 years ago, but go ahead.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
So I've never had a problem with contacts. I wear daily contacts, the ones where you put them in the morning, you take them out and throw them away. Well, this past Monday, like the day we recorded this podcast last week,
Okay.
I went home from work, my eye's killing me, left eye. I go to bed, I'm like, it'll be fine in the morning. I wake up, it's worse. Gotta call the eye doctor, hey, I need to get in, something's going on. I go, he looks at it, they shine this super bright light right in your eye, you basically get blinded by it. Long story short, scratched cornea.
From your contact?
We don't exactly know. Very likely something just got under the contact, some minuscule piece of debris or dirt, dust, whatever. And it basically creates a micro tear, an abrasion on your cornea, which is like the outside part of your eye, which protects the pupil and everything. It feels terrible. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
But like it's like minuscule. Doesn't that drive you crazy when like a very microscopic little thing just feels like your eye's coming out?
It's exactly it.
And it could be different things, like not your eye. Like what always gets me is like something around my fingernails that's like tiny, and I feel like my hand's gonna come off.
Canker sores.
Yes,
There you go.
just random little things that just really bother you day to day.
And the best part about this was it only lasted 72 hours, but the first 24, brutal. Like, you're so sensitive to light, I basically had to like wear an eye patch for the most part.
Oh, you should have.
Arr.
That would have been awesome.
Should have worn it for the podcast.
I know.
Well, this didn't happen until last Monday night. We recorded last Monday morning.
We could have re-recorded. If you're ever in an eye patch situation or an eye patch scenario, that's a call to arms. We
Worn
come
it
back
today. You
immediately.
said you could have still been suffering from after effects of it.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool.
You missed it.
What are we doing?
What are we? That's the next week. Anytime you're in an eye patch scenario and you need to have the skull and crossbones on the eye patch, don't go full black. Skull and crossbones on the eye patch, bandana,
Well,
record the podcast.
I'm just saying.
Now that we have video, for sure.
Greater appreciation for eye issues and things like that, because man, that first 24 hours was brutal. Wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. It is feels like something's on your eye 24/7, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I couldn't watch TV. I had to like cover this eye to watch TV. I went home from work early because I couldn't stare at the computer any longer. Basically turned all the lights off in my apartment, sat there, listened to podcasts to fall asleep. So
Listen to our podcast?
I did listen to our podcast,
Because that'll put you to sleep.
but you know,
So what's worse, the scratched cornea in the office or the fillet of fish in the office?
filet of fish.
Oh, Tobin.
We had that discussion the other day, and because now the McRib is out.
Yes, it is.
I don't know what's worse.
Well, they
the
always
McRib
say
or the
that it's
filet.
going away. They always say it's going.
Limited time only.
Like, why? Like, what? Just say that you're bringing it back. Like, quit trying to fake people out. McRib. Oh, filet
never
of
had
fish.
one.
Tobin.
Never gonna let him live that down. All right, gentlemen, what else we got? Anything?
No?
Let's go Thanksgiving.
That's right. Your favorite holiday is just, I guess,
Excited.
72 hours away. Dallas Cowboys play that second game of the day. What is it?
Packers
Lion-
Bears, I believe, is the first game. Is that right?
It's got to be Lions.
No, it's got Lions are always first.
Lions Packers, not Packers Bears. Lions Packers.
Okay, Lions Packers are that first game. And then the late game is Seattle San Fran, if I'm not mistaken.
And we have a Black Friday game this year, so I am kind of excited
That's
about that.
right. There is a Friday game, and I
Yeah.
only know that because one of my fantasy players plays on Friday.
Yeah, Dolphins and somebody.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Jalen Waddle plays Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, so hope you get your Thanksgiving fix, your football fix, spend some good time with family. You're going back out west, right?
For a little bit, yeah, they'll be back for the games. Let's go Raiders.
Okay.
Take care of Frisco, Emerson, and Mineral Wells, and then we'll be hosting Abilene High and Justin Northwest here at the stadium. So head out to Angelo, come back, and hopefully about 20 pounds heavier.
MJ's jetting back home to Boston for a couple of days, but I will too be back on Friday for the high school football landscape. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast with a new name, The Free4All.
Yes.
We love it. We're working on some new theme music for next week, so you're going to want to not miss that. Happy Thanksgiving to you and all your families. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks to bensound.com and Sound Bible for our sound effects. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.